So now on the show, I want to take a look at a new musical documentary that is out in cinemas this week. It is called Lee Kernaghan, Boy from the Bush. And this is from one of my favourite Australian directors, Kriv Stenders. Kriv is one of those directors where you never know what project he is going to work on next. Of course, most people would know him from films like Red Dog, which is his big film. But of course, Kriv has this unique style of being able to make films that you just don't expect that are going to come from him. And that was probably best shown a few years ago when he made the documentary Slim and I, which of course looked at the life of Slim Dusty through the eyes of his wife/musical partner. And it was such an amazing documentary because for myself, I find that I'm not a big country music fan, but to be able to sit down and watch that film and learn something about Slim Dusty, but also find myself entertained, it just meant that it showed Kriv Stenders is one of those directors that really, really knows how to put together a documentary. And of course, Kriv's films over the years, as I said, they've been so vastly different to anything that you would expect. You had the black comedy that was The Illustrated Family Doctor. There's been gritty dramas like Boxing Day, the very, very underrated Lucky Country, which I think is still one of my favourite films. Then he did an action film called Kill Me Three Times with Simon Pegg. And of course, from then on, he did Australia Day, which was hard-hitting as well. Just, you never know what this guy's going to do. And of course, he's brilliant, Danger Close, The Battle of Long Tan as well. But like I said, that documentary, Slim and I, was such a fantastic doco. And I never thought I would say that about a documentary about a country music artist. And now we've found him doing exactly the same with Lee Kernaghan, Boy from the Bush. Lee Kernaghan, of course, he's an artist that I've heard of. I've heard the odd song over the years. Because Lee is so great with charity, of course, whenever I've watched a charity gig, I've quite often seen him perform. He'll normally perform one of his hits like The Boys from the Bush or something like that, like a track that's become iconic, and you kind of know him for that. But outside of those iconic tracks, I didn't know his music at all. So I kind of went into this new doco thinking, how am I going to go with this? I mean, this is not an artist that I know all that much about, but I've come out of watching this doco with a newfound respect for Lee Kernaghan. Kriv Stenders does this doco in a really interesting way. It's part concert and it's part doco, but what Kriv does is he does this very, very great thing. I guess it's the only way I can describe it. A great thing where he videos a concert, but then has Lee talking about where the ideas came from each of those songs, what inspired him to write that song. And through that, we learn things that, like, Lee grew up in the high country. I did not know that. I would have picked him for a Tamworth or an Outback boy, but we learn about his family's history in the high country. We learn about his fans as well. We learn about how sometimes his songs have inspired fans to go and do things like buy a general store. But this is an amazing documentary. Not only do you get to experience the songs live, you get to hear the stories behind them. And I just think that is an absolutely fantastic idea. It's new, it's fresh. But what do you expect from Kriv Stenders, really, than something special, something new, and something fresh? So, yeah, definitely go and check out Lee Kernaghan, Boy from the Bush. Even if you're not a big Lee Kernaghan fan, you will learn a lot from this documentary. In fact, I would say this is a must-see documentary for people out there that love music, and I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5.